the natural hearing system that isn't working appropriately anymore and to stimulate the hearing nerve directly.
Why should people with hearing loss seek treatment through the Freighter and the Medical College of Wisconsin Health Network?
We have an experienced team of audiologists, ENT physicians, and neuro-otologists who will thoroughly evaluate your hearing. Based on the type and degree of hearing loss, whether it be mild, moderate, or severe, we will recommend a hearing treatment option that will best fit your hearing needs and will help you to meet your personal goals.
She's Jamie Jensen. Jamie, thank you for being with us today. To find a doctor who's right for you, visit Freightert.com.
Visit family-owned Ken Michaels Furniture and our in-store design centers where you'll still find beautiful, luxurious, heirloom-quality American-made furniture. Right now, save 30 to 35% store-wide and take advantage of our complimentary design services. Whether you're moving, renovating, or updating, our designers will help your vision become a reality. Visit Ken Michaels Furniture in Brookfield on Capitol Drive and in Greenfield on Highway 100 to save 30 to 35% store-wide today. Sleep better and save more with mattresses from Milwaukee Mattress and Ken Michaels Furniture. Handcrafted in our Milwaukee factory, our mattresses utilize natural materials like cotton cushioning, which dissipates body heat, Joma wool quilts for warm wintry nights and cool summer evenings, and natural latex providing superior conformability and pressure relief for aching joints. Stop in today at any Ken Michaels Furniture store and save up to 50% compared to national brands.
I'm Brett Matschke, and you're due for service.
Richlands. Stay up to date with your trusted and relevant source in news, sports, traffic, and weather. We are Wisconsin's radio station. News Radio 620, WTMJ, Milwaukee.
It's 11:01. I'm Greg Matzek. This is Wisconsin's Midday News for Wednesday, March 19th. Your top story, answering tough questions 2 weeks before the election.
I'm Jessica Tighe. More phone calls over the ceasefire.
A nice morning. It'll be kind of a nasty afternoon and evening. A wind advisory goes into effect at 7 o'clock tonight through 7 o'clock tomorrow morning for all of southeastern Wisconsin. Wind gusts up to 45 miles an hour. Rain and storms likely, very breezy. Tonight could see some snow, maybe up to 2 inches, and a low of 29. 39 degrees and cloudy in Milwaukee. At 11:02 from the WTMJ Breaking Newsroom, Decision Wisconsin. The two candidates for Wisconsin's open state Supreme Court seat fielding questions with WTMJ's Steve Scafidi.
Among those questions, how each candidate can stay beholden to law and order when donations to campaigns have already set judicial election records and could approach $100 million by April 1st. Waukesha County Judge Brad Schimmel.
It doesn't matter whether you are someone who supported my opponent or someone who supported me. You get the same standard in my court.
Dane County Judge Susan Crawford.
I've told anyone who is interested in my race that I welcome their support, but they have to know that they're supporting a fair, impartial judge.
Adam Roberts, WTMJ News.
A bar in West Allis has lost its liquor license, and the owner is now facing a defamation lawsuit. It all stems from a one-star Google review. Bryn Dutel of Onalaska, Wisconsin, says the owner of the Drunk Uncle, Neil Stefik, repeatedly kissed her friend and offered her a job. The next day, Dutel posted that one-star review online, which she says led to a salacious response from Stefik. The lawsuit also accuses Stefik of making false online comments alleging Dutel sexually assaulted a Drunk Uncle worker. Stefik now has 45 days to respond to that defamation lawsuit.
Well, the phone call is underway between President Trump and Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky, talking about a proposed ceasefire with Russia. President Zelensky says Russian President Vladimir Putin's vow not to attack energy infrastructure was very much at odds with reality. Following an overnight barrage of drone strikes, the White House has described Tuesday's call between President Trump and Putin as the first step in a movement towards peace.
Israel launched new strikes in Gaza overnight. One hit a United Nations guest house in the Gaza Strip, killing a UN staffer and hurting 5 others. Israel's military has denied it hit the UN compound. CBS's Rami Inosino is in Tel Aviv.
This UN compound we're talking about is in Deir al-Bala in the central part of the Strip. Those workers, we understand, are now getting treatment. What's notable is that the UN is now not directly blaming the IDF for those deaths so far and that the circumstances are unclear.
The Israeli military says it launched what it called a limited ground operation in northern Gaza to retake a corridor it had withdrawn from under the now broken ceasefire.
In Madison,
there are 18 ayes, 14 noes, and the bill is concurred in.
A bill that would undo an overhaul of how Wisconsin measures academic achievement has been sent to Governor Evers' desk. The bill would require the State Department of Public Instruction to overhaul its state report cards to match how they measured academic achievement before changes were made last year. It's unclear whether Governor Evers will sign the legislation. He has criticized the process State Superintendent Dr. Jill Underly took to change the report cards. Time for news about your money. The WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. Good report card here for all the indices. The Dow currently up about 330 points at 41,911. NASDAQ up just over 200 points today at 17,706. S&P 500 up about 50 at 5664. For sound financial advice from a fee-only fiduciary, it's Annex Wealth Management. Go to annexwealth.com and click on the Get Started button today.
Sports, traffic, and weather are next. Outdoor Living Unlimited WTMJ News Time is 11:05.
Don't think twice. Call Dice.
A great way to add value and curb appeal to your home is with a new LiftMaster or CHI maintenance-free garage door. Hey, it's WTMJ's Greg Matzek. A study by Remodelers Magazine reports that the average return on investment is an amazing 82%. Garage doors rank first among all home improvement projects. To see Geiss's huge selection of doors, visit their showroom in Brookfield. Or you can also visit their online showroom at geissdoors.com. Geiss has everything from alley doors to custom wood designer doors and everything in between. Remember, for all your garage door needs, you call Geiss at 262-784-4250. That number again, 262-784-4250. It's Geiss. Visit them online at geissdoors.com.
Don't think twice. Call Dice.
Pain can make you feel like no matter what you try, it's not going to work. Or it can make you try any and everything. And most times that'll make you feel like you've been taken for a ride. It's hard to believe that there's a solution to your pain problem that works, is safe, and is actually affordable. But that's why most insurance plans pay for pain treatments from Rejuvenex, because they're FDA approved and they do work. Toradol and hyaluronic acid work together to substantially alleviate your pain. And we've seen patients experience pain relief for greater than 2 years after completing a series of treatments. Is it a one and done? No. But at as low as $65 per joint? It's an affordable alternative to surgery. And it's not an expensive cross your fingers and hope it works experiment. Especially for older pain sufferers, the pain treatment that Rejuvenex offers is worth trying, because the vast majority of patients who do live better lives in a lot less pain. Go to Rejuvenex.com to request your free pain evaluation.
Time for WTMJ Sports Update from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All Sports Desk. The Bucks have lost 5 of their last 7. They're in a bit of an offensive funk, according to head coach Doc Rivers.
We don't have the right space, and the ball's not moving. We're not attacking. We're not getting to the paint. I got a whole list, but we got to do it. And I got to get them to do it. That's my job.
A 5-game Western Conference road trip continues Thursday night against the Lakers. Brewers and White Sox this afternoon from Arizona. Hear the game on 94.5 ESPN beginning at 3 o'clock. The Cubs fall to 0-2 in the regular season after a 6-3 loss to the Dodgers in Japan. And according to ESPN, the Packers are signing 27-year-old veteran wide receiver Mecole Hardman to a 1-year free agent contract.
He's a low-risk, high-reward guy. He doesn't cost as much as Devontae Adams would have. This makes a lot of sense, and we'll see if it pays off.
ESPN Wisconsin's Jason Wilde. Hardman also an experienced and accomplished punt and kick returner.
Taking a look at the roads with your WTMJ Johnson & Sons paving time saver traffic. We're doing pretty good. No big crashes to let you know about. We love that. There is a disabled vehicle that just popped up in Milwaukee County. Wisconsin 175 south at the ramp from Wisconsin Avenue. Right shoulder is blocked due to a car that's broken down. As I take a peek at the video here, it's a semi. And there's not a lot of traffic. Traffic is going by, moving a little bit slowly as it goes by, but there's not a ton. It looks like there is... This camera is a really far away one, but it looks like I see some flashing lights, so possibly an emergency responder has pulled up to see what's going on. We'll keep you posted, but right now we do have a semi that is disabled on the side of the road on 175 South at the ramp from Wisconsin Avenue.
Oh, kind of a nasty day. Morning was pretty nice, but rain is on the way. Storms are likely, breezy with a high of 45 degrees. Wind advisory goes into effect at 7 o'clock tonight until 7 o'clock tomorrow morning for all of southeastern Wisconsin. Look for gusts up to 45 miles an hour. Could see some snow tonight, up to 2 inches as well. So thunder and snow potentially in the same day. Welcome to March. A low of 29. Thursday's high 41 with a chance of snow early. 39 and cloudy in Milwaukee at 11:09.
Live from the Annex Wealth Management Studios in downtown Milwaukee, it's Wisconsin's Midday News, making stories come to life. Now, here are your hosts, Greg Matzek and Jessica Tighe.
Breaking news here, Jessica. The Minnesota Vikings have rejected multiple trade calls on J.J. McCarthy. They're telling other teams well, no thanks, but no thanks. He's going to be our starting quarterback, which means that Aaron Rodgers is not in the plans for the Minnesota Vikings, that it could be down to the Steelers or Vikings for anybody who wanted to see Aaron Rodgers follow Brett Favre's career arc.
It would have been a great storyline.
Definitely.
It sounded more like the Steelers for Rodgers, huh?
Potentially, but who knows where Aaron is and if he even wants to play. But that decision could be coming before too long. It's 11:10 on WTMJ. Some big stories that we're following here this morning.
And now it's time for 3 Big Things on Wisconsin's Midday News.
Number 1, the plan to build a Buc-ee's in Oak Creek moves forward after a contentious council meeting. Buc-ee's is a Texas-based company looking to build a 73,000 square foot convenience store and fueling plaza. It would feature 120 gas pumps.
We are not a truck stop. Trucks are not allowed in a Buc-ee's facility at any time other than delivery trucks.
The Common Council is looking to rezone land near I-94 and Elm Road to make room for it. Homeowners living a little more than 1,400 feet north of there in a subdivision, well, to say it mildly, they are not pleased.
They don't give a crap about us. It's about our house, my property, and what you're doing to it. You're degrading us, and I hope you're happy with it, because you're not welcome here.
You are not welcome here. That's what she's saying, and she's not alone. Nearby homeowners have actually formed a nonprofit called Oak Creek Neighbors United. The Wisconsin Department of Transportation is currently reviewing a traffic impact analysis for that site. As for the next steps, the Plan Commission will review the certified survey map in late April.
Yeah, so if this even got into effect, it wouldn't be till, 2027? Like, it's a ways off, a lot of steps in the process here. But you can understand the frustration if you're living close by. All of a sudden, you've got, lights befitting of an airport, for goodness sakes, shining into your windows.
I mean, anytime something like this happens, right, you can feel for the people. It doesn't mean it's not going to be great for the area, but if it was your backyard, would you want it? Most people are going to say, probably not.
I always think about that one house that is still standing in the front of IKEA. That one house. Like, nope, this is my land. You are not buying it. I don't care what it costs. What you're going to give me, my house. I'm staying.
But then do you have second thoughts as all of a sudden everything around you is built up?
Probably. A federal judge is ruling Elon Musk and his team at Doge likely violated the Constitution by dismantling USAID, one of the first agencies to face sweeping job cuts. ABC's Nicole D'Antonio reporting from Capitol Hill.
The judge's ruling requires the administration to restore computer access to USAID employees. But for now, the ruling stops short of reversing the firings. In a new interview, the president escalating his fight with the courts, denying that his administration defied an order to stop the deportations of hundreds of alleged Venezuelan gang members. Those flights flew on to El Salvador despite Judge James Boasberg directing them to turn around. The Trump administration says the flights had already left U.S. airspace when the judge's ruling came down.
The ruling in placing a preliminary injunction on Doge is one of the first major rulings to limit his work in the federal government because of the Constitution. President Trump vows to appeal the ruling.
Number 3, JFK files now released. This morning, historians, reporters, biographers, and yes, conspiracy theorists are poring over a ton of documents released over the past 24 hours, and you can read them right now as well. They're on the website for the National Archives. It's really interesting to go into that website and check it out. ABC's Jim Ryan is in Dallas right now, and he says the records are some of the final notes on the assassination of President Kennedy. Here he is.
10 months after the assassination of JFK, the Warren Commission concluded that Lee Harvey Oswald acted alone. 6 decades later, newly declassified documents have hit the internet.
Is there going to be something that shockingly proves what happened? I sort of doubt that.
Jeff Morley blogs about the Kennedy case, and as badly as he wants the new records to point to a smoking gun that wasn't in Lee Harvey Oswald's hands,
I'll believe it when I see it.
Jim Ryan, ABC News.
It's really interesting when you go to the website to check these out. Like I clicked on the first box that I saw, the first page. It comes up as a PDF file, and you can see different boxes up there, and the one that's checked is secret. It just makes you feel like you're part of something reading these.
Even if there's not a ton of information in this, if you compiled it, if you pieced it all together and sold it on Amazon, it would be a New York Times bestseller. Like, people who are into this, and there are so many, are just pining for any little bit of information, something unique, something a little bit different than what's been chronicled and discussed. Did Lee Harvey Oswald work alone? Some people say yes. Others who study this stuff religiously say no, there were others involved. And I think the hope was maybe these findings would reveal that little bit more that you're looking for, but so far, it doesn't seem to be the case.
Yeah, there's really no bombshell in these releases, but it kind of seems like it's filling in some details.
11:15 on WTMJ. They are back. Butch and Sunny, they landed in the water yesterday afternoon, early evening, and now they're trying to reacclimate to Earth after 9 months at the International Space Station. Just a crazy story. We've got some new details for you after this.
This is Libby Collins. This week on WTMJ Conversations, we talk with Ryan Jay, who's one of America's most popular and respected syndicated entertainment critics.
I heard everybody yelling, Ryan, Ryan, Ryan. I just got swept up in the moment of it, and I turned around and nosedived into the chest of Ryan Gosling. And all I could think of to say was, my name's Ryan, too.
WTMJ Conversations, Sunday mornings at 11 on WTMJ.
Hi, this is Bruce Nemovitz, Senior Real Estate Specialist and founder of Bruce's Team. We understand that moving from your longtime home can feel overwhelming. Ready for a smaller space, warmer climate, want to live closer to the grandkids, or you're just sick of the upkeep? From downsizing to preparing your home for sale, our team has guided over 3,000 families through the transition. Bruce's Team helps you every step of the way. Let us take you from overwhelmed to I can do this. Visit brucesteam.com today.
You've got several kids, or your job and other commitments keep you buried with work.
Meanwhile, the clutter is piling up at home. How can people stay tidy when their lives are in chaos?
We have a solution to help you chase away the chaos.
Yes. He's Dan, and I'm Katie. Together, we're Inspired Closets.
Our team at Inspired Closets can more than double your closet storage space via gorgeous closet renovations.
And our true lifetime warranty makes it a no-brainer. Get started today at InspiredClosetsMilwaukee.com.
Inspired Closets.
A wife and husband team.
Beer fans, travel lovers, and history buffs, this is your dream vacation. Join me, Sandy Max, on a 10-day journey through Germany, Austria, and the Czech Republic. We'll enjoy Munich's famous beer halls, sip our way through Salzburg's historic breweries, and discover Vienna's culture and craft beer scene. Then end the tour in Prague, where ancient history meets modern brews. From iconic castles to authentic flavors. Grab your passport and let's raise a glass to the ultimate beer adventure. Limited spots available. Book now. Email me, sandy@WTMJ.com to learn more.
It's going to be rainy, maybe stormy, then it's going to snow. Quite a day here in southeastern Wisconsin. Wind advisory goes into effect at 7 o'clock tonight, runs through 7 o'clock tomorrow morning. Gusts up to 45 miles an hour. It's going to be kind of a nasty day. That rain expected to start here before too long, and you're going to hear some rumbles of thunder in that as well. Then overnight, potentially 2 inches of snow. Wet, heavy, slushy stuff expected to accumulate at a low of 29. Tomorrow, breezy and a high of 41. 39 and cloudy in Milwaukee at 11:18.
Well, it was just fascinating to watch. A safe homecoming for Crew 9, the NASA astronauts who were in space longer than expected. After 9 months, they are back on Earth and in Houston right now getting a medical evaluation. More now from ABC's Faith Abube in Cape Canaveral, where that rocket splashed down.
NASA astronaut Sonny Williams and Butch Wilmore touched back down yesterday on Earth after that unplanned 9-month stay in space. Their Boeing Starliner was sent back last year without them due to technical issues during an 8-day test flight. Their recovery capsule yesterday deploying parachutes, floating them down safely.
It was so neat to see. I didn't actually see it live because I was still here working at the time. But when I got home, I was checking out all these clips on social media. Number one, what a stunning day to come back home to Earth. I mean, they need good weather to do this, but it was just beautiful. The sun was shining. The skies were blue. The water looked awesome. There was even a pod of dolphins right around the capsule. It was awesome.
I don't know who organized that, but well done. Marine life can be difficult to coordinate. It is so crazy to me that's just sort of where they landed, right? Ploosh, right in the water. What is that entry like? Do you feel it, the impact? Like at one point in your flight back, are you starting to feel gravitational pull, or do you not feel it at all when you're in the capsule? Like you get into the galaxy, at some point you're starting to feel it.
It makes me think that they were feeling it because at one point... It makes me think that they could feel it because at one point there was a shot where you could see inside of the capsule, and you had all the astronauts who were just kind of like they were bracing themselves. It was really interesting. Some of them looked like they had their eyes closed. Others had their eyes open, but it looked intense, right? And then all of a sudden, when they had the capsule and it opened up and Sonny and Butch were coming out and they had the smiles, and then they moved them into that mobility chair, basically, to kind of help them up and then get them in this chair, because it's not like they can come out of this capsule and just, boom, they're walking like everything's okay and they're back home on Earth.
Yeah, so this capsule it's a designed landing in the water, and there's parachutes that help it sort of descend. So at some point they launch the parachutes, and the thing has a nice peaceful landing into the water, but it's still something that was in space like 17 hours ago. That just seems wild to me. But this is how they did it. And to your point, it's not like you just walk off and start high-fiving everybody who helped you. Like, they can't walk. They can't function as human beings aside of what their heart and brain does muscularly. They are way off, and this is quite a bit of rehabilitation. They were put into wheelchairs right away, smiles, waving to folks and whatnot, but it's going to be quite some time before they're just sort of operating as normal.
Yeah, so after that capsule landed, post-mission recovery and medical teams met the astronauts, and they took them to NASA's Johnson Space Center in Houston. So they're going to undergo a progressive, they call it 45-day post-mission recovery program. And during that time, the crew will have medical and performance testing. They're going to have studies, basically, to make sure that they are reconditioning themselves. And every 2 hours, they work with trainers working on a personalized recovery plan to work back towards the fitness levels that they had before their mission. And think about that, 9 months ago. I mean, they weren't planning on the 9 months. I read this one article. It was fascinating. It talked to an astronaut who had been up to the ISS on 2 separate missions. One, I think, in 2008, another in 2009. But he was talking about how when he came back, he was not allowed to drive for a week to avoid the possibility of passing out or falling over while behind the wheel. And at one point, while still getting adjusted to being back on Earth, he said he forgot. He could no longer float. He's like, I was just laying there in bed. I had to go to the bathroom, and I just started pushing off my back thinking I'm going to float to the bathroom, because in your mind, you've been up there for so long, right? Now you're back home, but there's an adjustment period.
They landed about dinner time last night. I am very curious what their first meal was, and if they had a glass of wine or a cocktail or something, and then if they were able to sleep at all. I wonder what that is like. 17 hours. It's not even like in a foreign country. You're in a different part of our solar system coming back to Earth. Like what are those first 24 hours like?
And I think sometimes they have motion sickness. That's something that they're looking for. The healthcare team is looking for as well. It's one of the first illnesses that they look for, motion sickness, because your inner ear kind of shuts off. Weightlessness. I mean, you feel different. So I don't know. Were they even hungry?
Very good point. Now, if you don't know much about the ISS, and I don't, I've tried to learn more about it through the course of this 9 months. There is a guy who's still up at the space station. His name is John Pettit. He says they have everything they possibly need.
John Pettit, who's still up there on that space station, I love the way he describes it, that if you could bring your family with you, there is just no reason to come home, in that it has everything that you want.
Yeah, maybe a spring break destination before too long. That's Cody Coleman, who contributes for ABC News. So it's not like they were in dire circumstances up there. Like, everything was fine. They were just up there way longer than expected.
Yeah, and they have teams who create nutrition plans for the astronauts before their mission while they're up there. So, I mean, there's obviously a lot of work that we don't even know about that goes into this. But the bottom line is, Sonny and Butch are finally back home after 9 months, and it's a long road to get back to what they were used to. But they are so happy. I mean, it was, at the end of the day, it was a successful mission because they're back home.
It was important to get him back before opening day in the NCAA tournament. Yeah. Right? It really, once you started to look at the calendar and you started to check off days and they passed by some major holidays, I'm sure, or the Masters, right? Those were clearly in sight for the folks trying to bring them back. I can't imagine they weren't. It's 11:24 on WTMJ.
I know you have a great dog, right? But you know there's room for improvement. At Sit Means Sit Dog Training, we can help. Our attention-based training system uses modern technology to help you better communicate with your dog, even in high distraction. When you schedule a free consultation with us, you will have the opportunity to see our training in action and meet for yourself our happy dogs off leash and under control. Contact Sit Means Sit today at 262-361-3641 or find us on the web at sitmeansitwaukesha.com to schedule your free consultation so you can have a happy, confident, and obedient dog.
Save big on your next landscaping project now at Menards. Whether you're shopping for edgers, pavers, or wall blocks, we have the largest in-stock selection of concrete landscaping blocks ready to take home today. Plus, get fast, free estimates using our landscape design program in-store or on Menards.com. Save big on all landscape blocks when you shop at Menards. And don't forget to check out our weekly flyer on Menards.com for all the great deals.
Save big money at Menards.
WTMJ's Eric Bilstead here for QC Kinetics. You know, I get a lot of questions about QC Kinetics treatments, people asking if they should consider it for their own joint pain. Well, here's how you know. If you answer yes to any of these questions. Is your quality of life impacted by chronic pain in your knees or hips or shoulders or other joints, trouble sleeping or walking? Do you want to avoid surgery, a long recovery, and uncertainty that comes with it? And most importantly, do you miss doing the things you love because joint pain is holding you back? If you answered yes to any of these questions, don't wait. Call now. Call QC Kinetics and ask for your free consultation and learn how the latest advances in regenerative medicine can help you get lasting relief. No drugs, no surgery, no downtime. 414-285-3474. Call QC Kinetics today for your free consultation. 414-285-3474. That's 414-285-3474. Call QC Kinetics today.
Reminder that Wisconsin's Midday News podcast is available to you. Just text the word Midday to 855-616-1620. We'll get you all the information sent back to your mobile device. Wisconsin's Midday News podcast is built by Siding Unlimited, Truly Siding, and a whole lot more. I was hoping to have time to run outside and get a look out the window to see if it's getting nasty outside yet. We're in this little bubble.
You wanted to run outside? I did do that once, but it was for, what was it for? I don't remember.
Was it the eclipse? Like back in
I'm like,
last
I feel like
summer?
my brain is not here today.
We in the market hall here are kind of sheltered. We don't really, we have windows, but our windows don't look outside, right? They look outside in the market hall. So if you're getting, I don't know, some ramen or sushi or...
We look outside to the pho restaurant.
Yeah, the nice Vietnamese restaurant. But we can't really see what's happening outside, but it is going to be kind of nasty looking at the radar here. So once it starts coming down, get the lights on, try and be safe. But you might have thunder and snow in the same day. Maybe not at the same time, but in the same day.
It's one of those days you're going to see a switch.
Yeah, a switch. And tomorrow's kind of nasty as well with a high of just 41. But yes, at least we have a week or so until opening day. Couple of weeks. 11:27 here on WTMJ. We've got news coming up in just a few.
Welcome to The Knowledge Brokers, a weekly feature covering the dynamics of the insurance market, how it affects Wisconsin businesses, and all of us who live here. Sponsored by the original knowledge broker, R&R Insurance. Joining us today, Jeff Salasinski, Vice President of Insurance Operations. Jeff, last few months we have had a lot of newsworthy insurance-related events. Regular stream of things that remind us of the importance of properly designed insurance programs. So give us your perspective from where you sit.
Sure, Vince. Thanks. Great to be here. It really has been a tough finish to 2024 and a very difficult start in 2025. A school violence event in Madison in December, a terrorism event in New Orleans on New Year's Day, the California wildfires, just a massive event for the residents and certain insurance companies. There have been some employment matters in the news here recently as well. Lastly, a cyber data breach impacting over 60 million students and teachers.
So, Jeff, for folks listening right now, what should their primary takeaway be from all this?
Vince, quite simply, a properly designed insurance program has never been more relevant, more important than today. If you're not getting good guidance and options from your insurance provider, or you're buying online, you're jeopardizing your assets, your business, maybe your future.
Okay, so families, businesses, why should they work with R&R Insurance?
We deliver thought leadership around asset protection. It's what we do best. We inform you of where the opportunities are in today's market. We work with you to best position your account, your company for review by an underwriter, and R&R can get multiple companies competing for your account. It'll cost you nothing to sit down and talk with R&R Insurance. If you're looking for a better insurance buying experience, we'd love to speak with you. At R&R Insurance, we know business insurance.
Jeff Salazinski, Vice President of Insurance Operations at R&R Insurance. Thanks for the great info, Jeff. And you can get started online right now. Find out more at myknowledgebroker.com.
It's 11:30. I'm Greg Matzek. This is Wisconsin's Midday News. It is Wednesday, March 19th. Your top story, messy weather hits southeast Wisconsin.
I'm Jessica Tighe. It's down to the final four to lead UWM.
Get you caught up here. It's a wind advisory that'll go into effect at 7 o'clock tonight until 7 o'clock Thursday morning. All of southwestern Wisconsin is included. Wind gusts up to 45 miles an hour. Rain and storms are likely, breezy, and a high of 45. Rain will convert to snow later on this evening, breezy with up to 2 inches of accumulation and a low of 29 degrees. Tomorrow's high just 41. Snow expected early. It does look like a thunderstorm is moving its way toward the Racine-Kenosha area down toward the state line. 38 degrees and cloudy in Milwaukee.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. The White House says President Trump's call with Ukraine's President Zelensky centered on yesterday's talks with Russia's President Vladimir Putin and to get terms aligned about pausing attacks on energy and infrastructure. ABC's Karen Travers says more high-level talks are scheduled.
Mike Waltz says he is talking to his counterparts today from both sides, and there will be meetings this weekend in Saudi Arabia with senior U.S. officials and Russian officials. Waltz said it's shuttle diplomacy, and he said it is difficult and it is tough, but they're going back and forth between the two sides. But that's the key question here is, when do you stop going back and forth and bring both sides to the negotiating table? It doesn't seem like that's happening anytime soon.
Israel has resumed ground operations in Gaza following airstrikes. The health ministry in Gaza says it's killed hundreds. Volatile storms on the march across the nation's midsection with the threat of tornadoes today, and fire danger continues in parts of the South. This is ABC News.
Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time is 11:31. A wet mess across southeast Wisconsin, including possible strong thunderstorms, followed by bands of snow. TMJ4 meteorologist Tyler Moore is following it.
Here comes this initial band of rain showers and storms around lunchtime, early in the afternoon. More storms towards this evening. Then the cold air starts to drop in from the northwest, and we see that switch over to snow starting from the northwest and dropping to the southeast. The accumulations not extreme, less than 2 inches for most of southeast Wisconsin.
Can confirm it is raining here in downtown Milwaukee. Your complete 5-day forecast is coming up.
Plans are moving forward for the Buc-ee's gas station in Oak Creek.
On Tuesday, the Oak Creek Common Council voted 5-1 to rezone the proposed property to help with the development of the proposed Buc-ee's. But residents who showed up to the meeting were not happy with the plans for the gas station. Some cited concerns over its location across the street from the On the Border Club. Others cited increased traffic patterns, 24-hour light pollution, and gas fumes that would impact not only residents, but farm animals as well. With the project moving forward at this time, the Oak Creek Buc-ee's is still slated to open sometime in 2027. Sean Brinda, WTMJ News.
A facelift for a group hoping to preserve one of Milwaukee's architectural landmarks. The former Friends of the Domes has rebranded itself as the Milwaukee Dome Alliance, aiming to spread word of plans to renovate the Mitchell Park domes on the city's near south side.
Our vision includes a more sustainable visitor experience with new features like a children's garden, nature learning center, expanded gift shop, and cafe.
The dome's reimagined plan, approved by the county board late last year, would cost $134 million.
The final four candidates to lead the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee have been named.
Those finalists include Thomas Gibson of UW-Stevens Point, Carol Kim from the University at Albany in New York, Alan Klotche of UWM, and Nicole Parsons-Pollard from Georgia State. The candidates will participate in public campus forums starting next week. The final candidate will be UWM's 10th leader, replacing outgoing Chancellor Mark Money, who will go back into teaching beginning July 1st. Adam Roberts, WTMJ News.
As the demand for homes grows in a market that is not building at the pace that is required, more people are relying on rentals. Regional Manager, Southeast and Northeast Wisconsin for First Weber, Abby Hauk, tells WTMJ more adults are turning to rentals as they try and figure out when more inventory could become available.
That demand pushing the supply and the pricing up is pushing people into renting a lot more. However, I think apartment complexes know that. So rent prices are skyrocketing as well.
Yeah.
And it's easy to build them. Easier to build those than condo complexes and single family. So we're seeing a lot of them go up because they know they can get the demand for it.
Hauk says with such a demand for homes, it becomes more difficult for realtors to find affordable housing for clients.
The Bucks in a funk. Sports, traffic, and weather next. Outdoor Living Unlimited WTMJ News Time is 11:34.
Imagine waking up to the updated kitchen or bathroom of your dreams. J&J Contractors is your preferred partner in all your home renovation needs. They can transform your kitchen with beautiful new floors, custom cabinetry, and more. Dreaming of a spa-like oasis with custom tile work and fixtures? J&J Contractors will design a bathroom that leaves you feeling relaxed and rejuvenated. For your free consultation, just search online, J&J Contractors, or call 414-423-9200. J&J Contractors. Welcome home.
Are you sick of not being your bank's top priority? We are too. At Wintrust, we take a different approach to banking. We're proud to be your one true banking partner focused on your unique financial goals. That's right in your backyard. Whether you're opening your first account, buying a home, planning for the future, or starting a business, we have tailored solutions to get you there. Stop settling and start experiencing a better way to bank at Wintrust.com. Wintrust, different approach, better results. Banking products provided by Wintrust Financial Corp Banks, member FDIC and equal housing lender.
Staying active, essential for overall health. Proper medical support, essential for staying active. WTMJ's Vince Vitrano for Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. Whether it's keeping a weekend warrior like me on the tennis court or keeping young athletes in the game, you want the best in sports medicine, that's OAW. Surgeons, nurses, and physical therapists help you recover from injury, avoid injury in the future, and enhance performance. Get care 7 days a week. Walk right in at an Ortho ASAP clinic or book an appointment online at orthowisconsin.com.
For people with disabilities, an opportunity can make all the difference. Get help navigating the transition into adulthood, employment, housing, healthcare, and more with Thinkability Wisconsin, a resource hub that empowers people with disabilities.
So this job makes me feel very confident. My goal is always to grow myself and learn new things.
Live life to the fullest. It all starts when you say yes. Contact a Thinkability Navigator to get help at thinkabilitywi.org.
Time for a WTMJ Sports Update from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All Sports desk. The Bucks trying to dig out of their funk here. They've lost 5 of their last 7. Doc Rivers looking for answers.
We don't have the right space, and the ball's not moving. We're not attacking. We're not getting to the paint. I got a whole list, but we got to do it, and I got to get them to do it. That's my job.
5-game Western Conference road trip continues Thursday night against the Lakers. Brewers take on the White Sox this afternoon in Arizona. You can hear that game on 94.5 ESPN at 3 o'clock. Cubs fall to 0-2 in the regular season after a 6-3 loss to the Dodgers in Japan. And the Packers will reportedly sign 27-year-old veteran wide receiver and kick returner Mecole Hardman to a 1-year contract.
Let's get you an update on the roads right now with your WTMJ Johnson & Sons paving time-saver traffic. The rain is coming down now. We have wet roads, so a heads up for that. We also have a disabled vehicle out of the system. There actually happens to be some emergency responders by it too, but at this point they're just calling it a disabled vehicle. I-94 West at Mitchell Boulevard. Right shoulder is blocked right now due to that car that's broken down. And like I mentioned, it looks like there's 1-2 emergency responders out there, so it definitely has traffic moving slowly around that. Also, because of the wet roads, be careful.
Starting to rain here in downtown Milwaukee. Might be experiencing some thunder, maybe some lightning strikes here in the Racine-Kenosha area. Thunderstorms expected to stay in that area until about noon. Wind advisory goes into effect tonight at 7 o'clock, and it's in effect until 7 o'clock tomorrow morning with wind gusts up to 45 miles an hour. Going to see some snow tonight as well, maybe up to 2 inches of wet and slushy stuff that will accumulate. Tomorrow's high just 41. It is 38 degrees and wet in Milwaukee at 11:38.
Leaders in the cruise industry are here in Milwaukee today talking about the upcoming season. That's the ship bringing them in.
Is that the one? The first one? First one of the year?
No, not really. Dan Hartman, a member of Cruise the Great Lakes, joins us live in the studio. Welcome to Milwaukee, Dan.
Hey, thanks. Thanks for having me. It's great to be here.
And this is actually your first time in Milwaukee.
Correct. And I've been having a great time. So yes.
We are going to ask you about everything, all of your thoughts. We're going to get a review on Milwaukee in just a bit here. But let's talk about this first. Cruise the Great Lakes just announced its forecast for the 2025 cruising season. How many people are expected to cruise the Great Lakes this season, and how does that compare to previous years?
Yeah, so just to give you context, last year there were 700 port visits in the Great Lakes system. And so if you look at it in the whole, that's like $230 million economic impact.
Wow.
And I think when you think of the Great Lakes, you don't think of cruising, but man, it's really taken off in the last few years. And just to give you an idea, that's a 30%. This 2025 season has a 30% increase over 24.
30%.
Yeah.
That's significant.
So the word is out then, right? So the word is it's starting to get out, starting to spread. And you also have, I would imagine, word of mouth advertising for people who've done the 100%. Cruising, right? Kind of extending the message.
Yeah, it's been kind of like this dark horse little secret thing that people are like, wow, this is a lot more fun. And so the cruise ships are surprised by how fast these things are selling out. And so you're seeing just pretty quick growth across the industry.
You're trying to attract more international visitors as well. How do you go about doing that?
Yeah, so we actually have folks who travel internationally, go to these big trade shows. You'll have one in Greece a few years ago. Sometimes they're in Germany, and you meet with all of these different cruise ships. Like I'm in 2 weeks actually going to go to Miami to try to win over even more cruise ships to come up to the Great Lakes. And yeah, it's surprising to see how well received this is being by so many people.
It's interesting. And you know, you talk about the economic impact. It then gets sort of put back into infrastructure projects. We talked, I think going into the winter season about how a main goal was to make it more aesthetically pleasing to put that boat in Milwaukee for people getting off, so they weren't in kind of the better half of a shipyard.
Yes, I would say this is a two-way street aesthetically. It's better for the passengers, but frankly, it's better for town. Like, you know, I'm from Duluth, Minnesota, and we're going to have the cruise ships be attached right to the convention center that I run. And so now they're going to get off into the heart of the city, all of our great restaurants, all of our great food. That's great for the businesses, but frankly, it's great for even the visitors. The people who live in town, because they want to look at these boats too. And so now they can kind of get up close and personal with it, and it's kind of fun to be a part of that.
I love it. It's so true. Every time there's a cruise ship and we're out, you know, whether we're walking the dog or what we were doing, we would go down and we would take pictures of it. We'd often talk with people, and it was just great to hear what they thought about Milwaukee, what they were planning to do. You mentioned you're from Duluth, Minnesota, and I want to get to that because we've had the port director here in Milwaukee on a couple of times, and she's fabulous. And I thought for today, we've got all of these leaders coming in from the cruise industry around. Yeah. So let's bring somebody in and kind of get that perspective outside of Milwaukee. So you're based in Duluth. You're the director of the Duluth Entertainment Convention Center.
Correct.
When it comes to your role with Cruise the Great Lakes, do you chat with our people here in Wisconsin to try to combine efforts?
Yeah, I mean, whether you realize or not, your Port of Milwaukee and your Milwaukee Visitor Bureau is one of the leaders of the whole Great Lakes Initiative. And so, like, you know, when I got involved in this 3 years ago, they were like immediate to like, hey, we need to work together on this stuff. And they've been fabulous across the board. So, like, when I go to Miami, I'm hanging out with some Milwaukee people, I'll tell you.
It is kind of funny how this has grown, right? It started as an idea, and I think people maybe going to Summerfest would see a giant boat, and what is that, right? It captures your attention. It's interesting when something like that happens, and you're just not used to seeing it.
No.
But it's been more than just a dart throw. Like, it's certainly been productive. It's been interesting. You do have international travelers, people who've never seen this region of the country coming to it. How do you have to go about maintaining your fleet or making a decision to augment your fleet to satisfy demand?
Yeah, so that's one thing I want to point out is a lot of people get confused by this. This is not the giant behemoth cruise ships you have go to Miami. These are expedition ships. So these are only 300 passengers at a time. This is not 5,000 passengers. And that's also what's nice, too, is it's not overwhelming our communities. It's actually a more sustainable part of cruising you typically don't hear about a lot. And so, on the other hand, a lot of these ships are really new. So from a maintenance standpoint, if you've seen the two Viking ships, they are gorgeous ships. And if you ever get a chance to go on board, I mean, I probably can't afford to go on those cruise ships, but they are amazingly beautiful. And I think at some point that'll probably be a bigger conversation in this industry. But right now, we also just have a lot of new stuff. And they've had to make some repairs. One of the ships actually, one of the Viking ships leaves Duluth, goes to the Great Lakes, and then goes to Antarctica. I mean, it's a 70-day voyage.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so that's pretty hardy ship, we'll say.
You talked about the size of some of these ships, but what are they like inside? Because many people have not actually stepped on board, and these are pretty fascinating.
They're crazy luxurious. I just think it's funny when you go to the pool area. There are 4 different types of like ways to have water on you. There's a snow machine; it'll snow on you.
Oh,
yeah. I mean, it's a good weird variety of fun things.
Do you want that to happen?
I couldn't decide myself, but I will say it was just there's a beauty to the Great Lakes that I think many of us have forgotten. And when you're on one of these ships from the water, looking at the shoreline, you really appreciate how beautiful of a region we're in. And a lot of us have been referring to this as the fresh coast. And honestly, I think we all live here looking at the lake. It's rare to be on the lake looking at the shoreline. And that's a totally different and beautiful experience.
You mentioned that's 70 days. That sounds awesome, but not everybody can do something like that. How long are most of the cruises?
Most of these are 10 days or less.
10 days or less. Okay. And when is the best time to cruise? And what are you hearing from people who actually go and take the cruises, their feedback afterwards?
Yeah. So I would argue July is the best time to cruise the Great Lakes. Waves are better. Sun's out there. It's great. Less rain. But it's the thing that we're hearing again and again is that people are just surprised by how beautiful the tour is. But also, each of our cities are very different. And they all have their own different stories. And I think there was a conversation we had yesterday about how it's actually kind of a showcase of the growth of our country. Because you can see the steel industry over here, you see the car industry over here, Duluth, you hear about the iron ore industry, which supplied all those other things. And so you have kind of our country's story amongst this beautiful ride that you take through the Great Lakes. And that's again and again what we hear from these visitors are just like, we didn't know these things. And, thankfully for places like Milwaukee and Duluth, we're now getting put on this map of visitation that people just weren't even thinking of in general.
You could be up at Lake Superior and take some pictures and don't caption it, and somebody might think you're on the coast of Ireland, for goodness sake.
100%.
Are there popular destinations among the route? Do you hear feedback from folks who say, wow, like this was really the gem of our whole trip?
Yes. So I would say there's a variety of them, and I'm a little biased that once again I'm from Duluth, so I hear from the Lake Superior side of things a lot. But the Apostle Islands in northern Wisconsin, I guess, is just crazy beautiful from the boat when you're going through these islands. And once again, you're just not expecting that in this Great Lakes tour. Just the amount of greenery that's out there.
What is next? I mean, you talked about, obviously, you want to attract more people to go on these cruises. You want to attract more international people. But at the end of the day, when you talk big picture, because I know you had a media briefing this morning and there's more meetings today, when you guys all get together, cruise the Great Lakes, what are you talking about as far as the future?
I think just getting ready for the excitement that we're seeing and how can we have an infrastructure that can handle this excitement that is definitely coming our way. And I will say this is sometimes things happen at a good timing. And this post-COVID, I think people are looking for safer tours. And so that really bumped up the excitement. And then to your point, then the word of mouth just took off. And so it's been kind of a perfect positive storm, which doesn't always happen.
Okay, first thoughts about Milwaukee. It's your first time in Milwaukee.
I can't describe how good your food is. And I've had a field day with that. Your new Bucks Arena was fabulous.
Bad game, though, on Sunday.
It was not a good game for the Bucks. Not at all. And I will say I'm from Minnesota. I'm a Minnesota sports fan, but when it comes to the Bucks and the Brewers, they're like a second favorite for sure. But I can't say that for the Packers.
Fair enough.
Okay.
Fair enough.
We understand.
There are limits to these things.
Yes.
Well, glad you've had a good time here in Milwaukee so far. And here's to another successful launch of a fantastic season here.
Yeah, and thanks for having me again. And go cruising.
Yeah, Dan Hartman, a member of Cruise the Great Lakes. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
11:47 on WTMJ.
The next time you're due for service, visit richlands.com to schedule an appointment at any of our 5 conveniently located facilities.
All AAA approved and all staffed by ASE certified technicians ready to serve you.
Richlands.
Well, Siding Unlimited has done it again. Best in the U.S., right? They keep racking up these awards. Siding Unlimited recognized once again by Pella as their Platinum Premier Certified Contractor of the Year. That means Pella recognizes Siding Unlimited as the best installers of their high-quality products. Think about that for a second. Best in the U.S., this family-run business located in Brookfield. Why would you want anyone else installing your new windows or doors or roofing or siding or that new deck? Whatever you want, Siding Unlimited can help. If it comes to beautifying your home's exterior, put Siding Unlimited to work like I have over the years. They've done a number of projects for us, and they knock it out of the park. Beautiful work, great craftsmanship, wonderful people. It's Siding Unlimited. Visit sidingunlimited.com.
WTMJ's Vince Vitrano here for Shopco Optical. Get eyewear for everything you do at Shopco Optical. Schedule your annual comprehensive eye exam, check out new frame styles, and order your annual supply of contact lenses all in one place. Enjoy the time and attention your eyes deserve at Shopco Optical. Receive quality eye care and a personalized vision solution tailored to your specific vision and lifestyle needs. Call Shopco Optical or visit shopco.com to schedule an appointment at a location nearest you.
Burkhart Sporting Goods has a great reputation for producing custom team apparel. We're total team outfitters and we can handle the biggest jobs. Our success in custom team apparel led us into group and corporate apparel. Plus, we have a full selection of promotional products for employee gifts, special events, you name it. And we've made it easy for our customers to firm up their orders. The group sale web stores that we build for our customers are a simple way of gathering all the information you need. They're easy to work, easy to understand, and with them you'll have access to nearly limitless options. We've seen that most times we're better priced than our competition on the same high-quality apparel choices that the other guys offer. Plus Nike and Under Armour choices that the other guys can't get. And we offer a huge brand selection from Yeti, North Face, and Carhartt too. This is Brian Burkhart. For team, group, or corporate custom outfitting and promotional products, it's going to be really hard to beat our prices, selection, and ease of buying for any size budget and every size company. And that's why we always say,
You can't beat Burkhart.
New Berlin and Fox Point.
Who doesn't need a seasonal wardrobe update? But who has the cash to always keep their wardrobe updated? Ladies, that's why you shop St. Vincent de Paul. Our women's clothing is always a highlight of our stores, and thrift store prices keep the costs low. It allows you to experiment and also find a hidden gem. St. Vincent de Paul thrift stores on Highway 100 in Layton and Greenfield, 23rd in Lincoln, and 76th and Bradley Road in Milwaukee.
Ooh, you're gonna love it. St. Vincent de Paul.
Have you heard about this yet? It's called the slow TV movement. I had not heard about it until this week.
Slow TV movement.
Slow TV. When I say that, what do you think?
I'm intrigued. Well, I'm trying to... I don't know. I don't really have a good answer for that.
So here's the deal. A growing number of parents are hitting rewind on television that their kids watch, and they're opting for shows from their childhood. And there's a plan to this. They're slower paced. A lot of the classics, they're just a slower pace. And so they're finding a new audience among today's toddlers because parents are looking for something that isn't so overstimulating, that doesn't get the kids' minds just like going. So you're all revved up.
So you're not talking about Matlock here or Law and Order, right?
No. You're talking about, say, Winnie the Pooh.
Cartoons. Old school cartoons.
But so when I think about old school cartoons, it just gives you like a warm, fuzzy feeling, right? You think about the nostalgia of it, but it's not about the nostalgia. It's about what it does for the brain. And experts say this is actually backed by science. There's one pediatrician who suggests the pacing of kids' media can significantly impact attention spans, emotional regulation, and behavior. So they're talking about these cartoons of today. It can actually lead to shorter attention spans, heightened irritability, which you don't want with your kids, especially toddlers, and impulsive behaviors as their brains actually struggle to adjust to the environment and what they're watching and all the action.
There's a lot to that, right? That there's this on-demand world that we live in where my daughter still thinks that I can dial up any program that I want to watch and we just watch it, right? We just do it. And
you snap your fingers?
In many respects, she's accurate with that, but that's not how it was when we grew up. If you missed the airing of whatever it was you wanted to watch and you didn't tape it, well, you were out of luck until maybe a rerun came on or a different opportunity on a different station. When I was a kid, my mom wouldn't let me watch the A-Team because she thought it was too violent.
Oh, okay.
But she had no issues with me watching cartoons that depicted more violence than an entire season of the A-Team.
Hey, laughing boy, no more bullets. No more bullets? Here, let me see that thing.
Well, what do you know? One bullet left.
One bullet left? Hey, laughing boy, there was... I know!
Yeah, all sorts of things wrong with that scene, right? Daffy Duck blowing his face off using a rifle of a deranged hunter with a speech impediment. Right, those were
yikes.
cartoons when I was growing up.
See, I liked cartoons like Do you remember Snorks?
I don't remember. I don't remember Snorks.
I loved Snorks. Snorks were like the Smurfs underwater, and they had snorkels on their heads, and that's what made them move through the water. But speaking of the Smurfs, that was a good one.
Long, long ago, deep in the forest, there was a hidden village where tiny creatures lived. They called themselves Smurfs. They were good.
Cracks me up. I didn't remember that part.
Yeah.
They were good.
They were something, right? The little blue creatures. I mean, a lot of this stuff, people mind-expanding drugs, perhaps, when they created these sorts of things. A lot of the cartoons that were on and popular when I was growing up in the 80s, you couldn't even do today, right? How about Pepe Le Pew, whose object of affection was a lady skunk who didn't exactly share the same desire as Pepe?
Ah, un petit femme skunk. I am Pepe Le Pew, your lover.
Yeah, right. I mean, just like there's, I don't think you could do that for this time of year, politically correct as we try and be.
Well, some parent-approved slow TV favorites, in case you're thinking, okay, I like this idea of the slow TV movement. These are some parent-approved ones. Franklin, Little Bear, Bluey, which is a modern classic.
Bluey's great.
DuckTales. I remember DuckTales from back in the day. And Winnie the Pooh. And Winnie the Pooh, I went back and looked at for a moment. And really, as you're watching it, I mean, it almost looks like the opening was like a page from a book. I mean, there was no movement. So you talk about slow TV, incredibly slow. And it was just the characters who were moving. But everything in the background, it looked like it was a book, a page from a book.
Nowhere on that list is anything Bugs Bunny related. Now, you have to imagine, Bugs Bunny created in the 40s, ran through the 50s. You'd see those reruns in the 80s. No race was off limits for Bugs Bunny. The rascally rabbit posing as an ice cream truck driver in Japan.
Hey, here's yours, bull eggs. Here, one for you, monkey face. Don't shove, there's plenty for all. Here, slant eyes. Everybody gets one. Ice cream.
That was a cartoon growing up, right? You can't get away with that today, right? The racist rabbit running around trying to save the world.
But now cartoons are different. And in some cases, a lot of parents are saying they're just overstimulating the kids. But then you have other parents say, hey, it's keeping my kids engaged. True. And that's what I want and that's what I need. But these fast-paced kid shows, they're designed to hook younger kids with rapid scene changes. You got loud sound effects and fast-moving plots. I mean, definitely not Winnie the Pooh where it looks like it's a book with just some characters who are moving around. But the doctors say it may seem harmless, but that overstimulation can actually wire kids' brains to crave constant novelty, making it harder for them to focus when you need them to focus on a moment that's quieter or, something independent if they're reading or just playing on their own. So, anywho, it's something you're probably going to hear about more often if you haven't heard about it yet. It's the slow TV movement.
11:56 on WTMJ.
We've all heard of Larry Bird. Allow us to introduce Derry Bird.
It's A.J. Green slashing a three down from the right wing on the other end of the court. It's a one-point game. Giannis back to A.J. A.J. going to try to answer. Off-balance three, and he hits it. How did he hit that one? The Derry Bird going deep into his bag of tricks there.
We're the home of Derry Bird and the Bucks. WTMJ.
Are you on track to achieve your retirement plans? Hi, I'm Jeff Kowal of Kowal Investment Group. We've recently joined Creative Planning, a national registered investment advisor. This move to Creative expands our ability to provide comprehensive wealth management, investment advisory, and retirement planning services. Now is the time to put your lifetime of hard work into action. For over 37 years, we've helped clients toward making their retirement dreams become a reality, and we'd like to help you too. And the best part, your plan will be completely tailored to you. Our in-house team of specialists will take the time to learn about you and your family, review your current situation, and find out what your goals are. Then we'll design a plan to help you get there. To get started, request your free meeting today with one of our fiduciary advisors by visiting creativeplanning.com. Whether you have met with us in the past or this will be your first meeting with us, we're excited to introduce Kowal Investment Group to you as Creative Planning. Visit creativeplanning.com today.
Lake Geneva is the Midwest's premier golf destination, featuring breathtaking views, crystal clear lakes, and rolling fairways. Treat yourself to an all-inclusive golf getaway with courses designed for all skill levels, luxurious lodging, distinctive dining, and a relaxing spa. Plan a Lake Geneva group golf outing, a corporate event, or a weekend getaway with friends or family. Their pros will help you plan a memorable golf experience. For info on courses and more, visit lakegeneva.com today. Lake Geneva, it's always been the place for legendary golf.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee from the Annex Wealth Management Studios. This is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station. Wisconsin's morning news is here for you every weekday morning starting at 6 a.m. Vince Petrano.
Milwaukee Public Schools begin the week with more lead remediation, a new superintendent, and a court-ordered deadline.
Eric Billstad.
March in Wisconsin means snowfall and wildfires can happen just days apart.
And traffic with Debbie Loziga.
We've got eastbound 94 closed in Jefferson County.
The news you need to know. Wisconsin's morning news on WTMJ.
Well, if you need flagstone for your new natural patio, Erickson's is the place to find it. We have the largest selection and 15 styles to choose from. And for decorative stone, Erickson's is your best choice. Our decorative stone is trucked in from all over the country. We buy straight from the quarry and cut out the middleman to keep your prices nice and low. Erickson's Landscape Supply. High-quality mulch and stone for a whole lot less. Commercial or residential, visit ericksonslandscapesupply.com to see our entire selection. So he said to me, "Boy, oh boy, do you got the boulders." And I said, "You betcha." And he said, "Do you mind if I cherry pick?" And I said, "Feel free. They're all beautiful and they're all granite. Sparkling pinks, blues, and grays from 4 to 36 inches. And they're all priced right because we buy direct from the source nationwide to give you the look you want." Erickson's Landscape Supply. High-quality mulch and stone for a whole lot less. Commercial or residential, visit ericksonslandscapesupply.com to see our entire selection.
Built Right, one location saves you money.
You gotta get to Built Right today.
Breaking news as it happens. Stay up to date with your trusted and relevant source in news, sports, traffic, and weather. We are Wisconsin's radio station. News Radio 620, WTMJ, Milwaukee.
It's 12 o'clock. I'm Greg Matzek. This is Wisconsin's Midday News. It's Wednesday, March 19th. Your top story. One bad Google review leads one bar to lose its liquor license.
I'm Jessica Tighe, extending the deadline to answer the judge.
Rain starting to fall. Storms are likely today. Breezy and a high of 45 degrees. Tonight, rain converts to snow. Breezy up to 2 inches of wet, heavy accumulation. A low of 29. Those wind gusts are going to pick up as well. In fact, a wind advisory goes into effect at 7 o'clock tonight. Expect gusts up to 45 miles an hour. It's 38 degrees and rainy in Milwaukee at 12:01. From the WTMJ Breaking Newsroom, a bar owner in West Allis is facing the loss of his liquor license and a defamation lawsuit, all stemming from a one-star Google review.
Bryn Dutel of Onalaska, Wisconsin, says the owner of the Drunk Uncle, Neil Stefik, repeatedly kissed her friend and offered her a job during a visit to the bar earlier this month. The following day, she posted the one-star review online, which Dutel says led to a salacious response from Stefik. Stefik is also accused of making false comments alleging Dutel sexually assaulted a Drunk Uncle employee. The West Allis Common Council voting not to renew the bar's liquor license Tuesday. Stefik has 45 days to respond to the suit. Adam Roberts, WTMJ News.
Another phone call about ending the war in Ukraine, this time involving President Trump and Ukrainian President Zelensky.
The phone call, which lasted about an hour, follows a call yesterday between President Trump and Russian President Putin. In a statement on Truth Social, the president said, quote, "We are very much on track." Ukraine's president had earlier agreed to a 30-day ceasefire with Russia, but Russia's president did not. Instead, he accepted a pause in attacks on energy infrastructure in Ukraine, but attacks did occur overnight. Further talks are expected in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, Sunday. Linda Kenyon, CBS News, the White House.
A D.C.-based federal judge has given the Trump administration 24 more hours to comply with his demands for information about the president's use of the Alien Enemies Act to deport suspected Venezuelan gang members last weekend. ABC's Stephen Portnoy.
The dispute is escalating as the administration insists the judge's demands for details about the deportation flights amount to continued intrusions into the prerogatives of the executive branch. Judge James Boasberg says he now needs to determine whether his orders have been deliberately flouted and, quote, what the consequences should be. He's given the administration until tomorrow to decide whether to provide answers to his questions or to invoke the rarely used state secrets privilege meant to protect military matters from being made public in court.
Yeah, the same judge ordered the administration to turn the flights around after immigrant rights advocates sued. That order was not followed.
Arrested for drugs after trying to escape from police. Milwaukee police were serving a search warrant near 35th and Silver Spring yesterday when they found someone sleeping in a car. The driver woke up and sped off, leading police on a chase. That chase ended near 36th and Hampton when the suspect ditched the car and ran off. Police arrested the 32-year-old man who they say tried to throw away a baggie of heroin and cocaine. More drugs and guns were found at a search of his home.
As we brace for rain and snow today, one county has a cheesy solution to pre-treat the roads.
Greene County is treating the roads with cheese brine. Highway Commissioner Chris Narveson says, don't worry, it doesn't stink that bad. Plus,
we are limited on the amount that per mile we can use.
Narveson tells WTMJ's Wisconsin's Afternoon News, 23% salt is a sweet spot to treat the roads.
So they make a salt brine and then they soak the cheeses in it. And the thing that got me was it's a trade secret. I'm like, really?
They're looking for more farms to partner with because this cheese-making byproduct would otherwise be thrown away. Julia Fellow, WTMJ News.
Time for news about your money. The WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. Lots of green today. The Dow up over 200 points at 41,700. NASDAQ up about 170 points at 17,671. S&P 500 up about 40 at 5653. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Financial planning at every level. For details, visit AnnexWealth.com.
A brand new crash at a busy spot that's coming up. Sports, traffic, and weather after this. Outdoor Living Unlimited WTMJ News Time is 12:05.
She's different and special and loaded with personality.
And there's one more thing, but you can't explain it in words. She's the one.
She's the one.
The one. You know it.
Your friends know it.
The whole world knows it. We curated a special selection of engagement rings for her.
Can you guess what we call it?
We call it the One Collection by Kessler's. Because these engagement rings are different.
And special.
And loaded with personality. And one more thing. But you can't explain it in words.
Engagement rings in the One Collection start at just $725.
But some of them are more. A lot more.
But we've got you covered.
First, we have 12 months financing at 0%. Or second, we have 36 months financing at 9.99%, both with approved credit.
Third, we have second chance financing if you need someone to give you a second chance.
And don't forget the Kessler's warranty. The strongest warranty of any jewelry store in the world.
For the location of the Kessler's nearest you, visit KesslersDiamonds.com.
A Friday Lent fish fry is a family tradition. WTMJ's John Mercure here. Don't wait until Friday. During Lent, the amazing Mind Chef restaurant in Hartford serves their all-you-can-eat fish fry on Wednesday and Friday. And check this part out. It's $7.99. That's great value. Inflation's tough. They've got your back at the Mine Shaft. It's the best fish fry value anywhere, and it's delicious. I love the Mine Shaft fish fry. Every Wednesday, kids and grandkids 5 and under eat free from the kids' menu, and then they can safely play in that world-class game room quietly set aside from the dining area while you finish up dinner. Just perfect. The full super affordable menu is, of course, always available. Wherever you live, it's worth the drive to the Mine Shaft today for your Wednesday all-you-can-eat Lenten fish fry, and it's just $7.99. Desserts are buy one, get one free. I love that. In beautiful downtown Hartford and just off the interstate in Oshkosh, it's the Mine Shaft. Big food, big fun. Thursdays, buy one pizza, get a second pizza free. Check them out at MineshaftRestaurant.com.
Time for a WTMJ sports update from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All Sports desk. Bucks have dropped 5 of their last 7. They're in a bit of a funk here on offense, according to Doc Rivers.
We don't have the right space and the ball's not moving. We're not attacking. We're not getting to the paint. I got a whole list, but we got to do it, and I got to get them to do it. That's my job.
5-game Western Conference road trip continues Thursday night in Los Angeles against the Lakers. The Green Bay Packers are signing 27-year-old veteran wide receiver Mecole Hardman to a 1-year contract, according to ESPN.
He's a low-risk
high reward guy. He doesn't cost as much as Devontae Adams would have. This makes a lot of sense, and we'll see if it pays off.
ESPN Wisconsin's Jason Wilde. Hardman also an experienced and accomplished punt and kick returner. And in baseball, the Brewers take on the White Sox this afternoon in Arizona. You can hear the game on 94.5 ESPN at 3 o'clock. Meanwhile, the Cubs are 0-2 in the regular season after a 6-3 loss to the Dodgers in Japan.
Taking a look at the roads with your WTMJ Johnson & Sons paving time-saver traffic. That new crash I was letting you know about is in Waukesha County, I-43 South at Calhoun. There's a significant backup just in a small spot between about Calhoun and Moreland, so it doesn't go very long, but it is a significant backup. Emergency responders are there right now, but I can tell you as I'm taking a peek at the cameras, there was an ambulance there that has moved out at this point, and it looks like some of the other cars are moving out as well. So right now, at this very moment, we just have one emergency responder out there. So traffic's still moving a little bit slow, but that's good news, and hopefully that one will be out of here too, and it will be clear sailing. Heads up too, it's wet on the road, so be careful.
Yeah, rain is coming down here. Might be experiencing some rumbles of thunder, especially closer to the state line. That'll be moving through the northern part of our listening area a little bit later today. Wind advisory in effect beginning at 7 o'clock tonight. Wind gusts up to 45 miles an hour. Rain and storms likely. It'll convert to snow this evening as the temperatures drop up to 2 inches of wet and heavy stuff, a low of 29. Thursday, not very nice. Chance of snow early, then breezy. Skies should clear up later in the day, a high of 41, back into the 50s on Friday. 37 and rainy in Milwaukee at 12:09.
Live from the Annex Wealth Management Studios in downtown Milwaukee, it's Wisconsin's Midday News, making stories come to life. Now, here are your hosts, Greg Matzek and Jessica Tighe.
At least it's not opening day.
Yes, I'll take snow over rain on opening day for the tailgaters.
Really?
Yeah, because I think snow can be fun. I mean, sometimes, yes, you have to worry about the roads, but not all the times, right? I mean, I'd rather be out in the snow than the rain tailgating.
We had an opening day broadcast a couple of years ago, and the wind was so bad. We had our mobile broadcasting unit out on the plaza at American Family Field, and Jeff Wagner was in there, and he said, I can't do this. He was getting he didn't think it was safe, right? It was an awful day, so we had to get him a pass to go inside and use the booth that we have inside the venue at the stadium. Yeah, Jeff was nervous about being outside. Being out in a tin box in a rain and windstorm is no fun.
Yeah, not when there's a storm, that's for sure. Well, remember last year, too. Last year was very soggy. Yes. I remember we couldn't use our mobile studio last year, so we had to go inside, which actually provided a great view. So I loved that, don't get me wrong. But I remember walking into the stadium, and it was just like slosh, slosh, slosh. It was a wet one.
Definitely wet out today. Get those lights on if you're out driving around if the rain is falling. It's 12:11. We're on top of some big stories here as we flip to the noon hour on a Wednesday.
It's now at noon on Wisconsin's Midday News.
A safe homecoming for Crew 9, the NASA astronauts who were in space, oh yes, a lot longer than expected. After 9 months, they are back on Earth and in Houston this afternoon right now getting a medical evaluation. ABC's Faith Abube is in Cape Canaveral where that rocket splashed down.
NASA and a medical team still evaluating that crew. They're making sure they're safe and healthy before reuniting with their families. The timing is still unclear, but it could happen within the next day or two. And after everything Sonny and Butch have been through, NASA is promising them some much-needed time off.
The road to recovery will be a long one. While up in space, blood and fluids shifting up can cause eye and brain changes in astronauts. And the pair will have to relearn the basics like walking as their bodies once again get used to gravity.
So crazy, isn't it? Just you get out of that capsule and it's like, whoa, hang on a second. You feel like Jell-O and you can't even walk. Plus the muscle atrophy after 9 months of weightlessness.
Yeah, and what a beautiful time though for them to land down. I mean, it was stunning. It was the skies were blue, the water was blue. There was a pot of dolphins swimming around.
That was
capsule.
A nice touch, wasn't it?
It was just unbelievable. And when you think about it, I mean, sometimes you're just trying to figure out how to detour from this spot to this spot or make it home from the new store, and here we've got these people up in space, coming back down, splashing into the ocean, and then, boom, they're off into the mobility chair, which was interesting. I think you called it a wheelchair. They definitely don't call it a wheelchair.
No,
something
they
fancy,
don't.
like the mobility command mobile.
Yeah, it's a chair on wheels. It's a wheelchair.
But they can't just They can't just come out of the capsule and then stand up and walk off. It doesn't work like that.
I wonder what they ate last night, or if they slept. I don't know. I have so many questions.
Or if they even felt like eating, because sometimes they can have motion sickness afterwards. That's one of the first things that the doctors look for.
Well, glad they are home. New developments in the disappearance of a Pittsburgh college student on spring break in the Dominican Republic. 22-year-old Joshua Reeby of Iowa is believed to be the last person to see the missing college student alive before he passed out on the beach. Admittedly, he's been held in the Dominican Republic, pleading with the judge to allow him to return home to the United States. No decision on that just yet, however.
Kananke's grief-stricken family requesting the Dominican police declare their daughter legally dead, acknowledging the 20-year-old likely drowned. The Kanankes referencing Reeby without naming him, writing, "He is cooperating with the investigation and no evidence of foul play has been found."
Yes, and I get the family saying, look, our daughter, Sadiqa, she drowned. She's missing. You're subject to the ocean, sea creatures, who knows, right? Her body is not turned up, but you can presume that she is gone. And Joshua Reeby's doing everything in his power to cooperate. He's done that from the start. No sign of foul play here. He just wants to get home. It's a little tricky in that he's in a foreign country.
They really said that from the beginning. I mean, they said he was not a suspect. He was being questioned, of course, because he was the last person to see her. But, I mean, for the most part, we have heard time and time again that no foul play is suspected. Well, more women over 40 are becoming first-time mothers. CBS News correspondent Michelle Wallace has the new details.
A report from the National Center for Health Statistics says 2023 was the first year in which women 40 and older gave birth more than teenage girls did. Researchers suspect women are waiting longer because of the economic burden of child rearing, plus changes in technology and dating behavior, and an increase in the number of younger women attending college. Overall, the nation's fertility rate has fallen 14% since 1990. Michael Wallace, CBS News.
Among older women older than 40, the risk doubles, though, to 10%. So a lot of times, too, doctors are saying we're seeing more and more people come in their 40s who are pregnant, but they already have some issues. So that's something you have to think about. High blood pressure. Some people have kidney disease or diabetes. And age isn't something that you can modify.
I'd be curious to know how many of those instances, is it a first child? Is it a second child? Is it a third child, or down the road? Also, I think to be considered in Michael Wallace's report, the amount of women who are career-driven at this point and maybe make a late decision to get married, late decision to start a family. They want it, but just it's put off for a number of factors, including a career.
And he talked about the teen births dropping sharply. Remember that show Teen Mom back in the day?
Yeah.
I feel like you used to hear about that more and more. Not that it's not happening, but it's just definitely not happening as much.
12:15 on WTMJ. We talked a little bit yesterday about the JFK files being released. I mean, if you put this together in a book, it would be a bestseller, but is there anything really substantial and concrete in those findings? We'll check in with ABC's Jim Ryan, who's in Dallas after this.
The Upswing with Jeff Sherman.
Dr. Kimo Ayun, president of Marquette University. When you got that call, walk me through that and how it all happened.
So, Mike Lovell, when I met with him and I understood his vision, I walked out of that meeting, my very last meeting in the interview process, and called my wife and said, this suddenly got very real.
Weekdays from 10 to 11 on WTMJ. Presented by Horicon Bank, the natural choice for all your banking needs.
Well, kind of nasty outside. Why do you want to cook in weather like this? Why do you want to do anything? No hard work after work. Make it easy. Make it Wisconsin's Hometown Pizza. Make it a Palermo's night in your household. I'll make it easy for you, right? On your way home from work, stop off at the store, go to the frozen food aisle, find Palermo's pizzas. Pick one. Pick a dozen. Pick how many ever you'd like here. Connie's Urban Pie, Screamin' Sicilian, my personal favorite. Urban Pie, you name it. Surfer Boy Pizza is also fantastic. The best makers of frozen pizza in the country, it's Palermo's. Wisconsin's Hometown Pizza, made in the state for over 60 years. And Connie's Frozen Pizzas, they got a delicious deal on that right now. It's a thin crust pizza, 2 for $10 right now at Piggly Wiggly through the 25th of March. Connie's 2 for $10 at Piggly Wiggly now through March 25th. Turn your own kitchen into a pizzeria with Palermo's and Connie's 2 for $10 at Piggly Wiggly now through March 25th. Enjoy Palermo's, Wisconsin's Hometown Pizza.
Your European experts at Fox World Travel are ramping up and busy as ever. With the trending spring and summer European travel season, Fox European experts mean you can maximize your time soaking up the warm weather, blooming flowers, and vibrant landscapes without worrying about your travel or missing a moment. Port hop along the Mediterranean with Viking or Princess, or design your own bucket list adventure with Insight Vacations. Visit us online or call 866-GO-FOX-GO. Your European immersion awaits.
No shortcuts, no compromises, just the job done right. At Exterior Pros, we don't just meet expectations, we crush them. Every nail, every window, every shingle is a step toward your home's next chapter. From the moment we start until that final reveal, we're committed to making your home better than ever. Quality products and craftsmanship you can count on. Go to the pros for your next project. Get started today and save $2,000. Visit extpros.com or call 262-800-4274. That's 262-800-4274.
Well, lights on, everybody. It's raining outside. It's going to continue to rain until it converts to snow later this evening. Yeah, kind of a nasty day here. Storms likely, breezy, a high of 45 degrees, wind gusts up to 45 miles an hour. A wind advisory goes into effect at 7 o'clock tonight. Up to 2 inches of wet, heavy accumulation are possible tonight as rain converts to snow when the temperatures drop to a low of 29. Tomorrow, chance of snow early, then a high of 41, back into the mid-50s on Friday. 38 and wet in Milwaukee at 12:19. The JFK assassination files, more than 60,000 new pages are now accessible, all in PDF form, as President Donald Trump ordered the release of more than 2,000 new files. He's done this before. Back in 2016, Trump released several files. There are still more files yet to be released, but history buffs are no doubt having some fun clicking around. But does the information really tell us anything new? We welcome in ABC's Jim Ryan. Good morning, Jim.
Morning. Yeah, I think all of it's kind of interesting. Even the slips of paper that are practically illegible because somebody wrote on that thing 61 years ago, some cop or somebody, and stuffed it in their pocket, and then it ends up in the archives. But so even that stuff is sort of interesting. Is there's anything point to a smoking gun beyond the Mannlicher Carcano that Lee Harvey Oswald wielded on that day? Not really. No, it seems to reaffirm what the Warren Commission found, that he acted alone. Although we still don't know what the motive was. I mean, Lee Harvey Oswald insisted that he didn't do it. He was a patsy. And thanks to Jack Ruby, we'll never know what his true motivation might have been. Of course, we might not have found out anyway, Greg, but we'll never know now, and maybe these documents will shed some light on that.
It is kind of fascinating to go and look at these files. I just clicked on one right now, and it says the box secret is checked off. I mean, there's just something about human nature that makes you want to look at this and see what there is, even if there isn't. As you said, there's no smoking gun, nothing brand new, more kind of like filling in the details. So why did President Trump want these files released so bad?
Well, he said his constituents and voters back in 2016 wanted him to do this. And so that's why there was a partial release during his first term and now a more complete release. And I think he himself was kind of interested in the Kennedy assassination. Remember when he was running against Ted Cruz in the GOP primary back in 2016, he claimed that Cruz's dad was somehow connected to the assassination. So it was somewhere in Trump's mind. So on Monday, Jessica, when he was at the Kennedy Center's board meeting, he said, well, we're going to release the rest of the Kennedy documents tomorrow. And his archivists and people at the archives and his national security folks kind of looked at each other and they said, did he say tomorrow? And they suddenly had to scramble and get to work to get this done. They had no idea. And so it's kind of piecemeal. It's coming out in bits and pieces. The 2,182 PDF documents that Greg talked about, there'll be more released through the coming days. It's also not as organized as previous releases of documents have been. And so you kind of have to pick through it and see what's worth anything and what isn't.
Well, yeah, it doesn't read like a book, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, and if it were a book, it'd be a bestseller on the New York Times list, I have no doubt. Everybody trying to pick apart some information from this. You know, I think on one hand, you've got supporters of the release saying this is all about being transparent and releasing documents to the public that should be released to the public. You've got detractors of Donald Trump saying this is all a distraction. The markets are in turmoil. Inflation is still high. And this is sort of deviating folks' mind in America from some real issues that are happening in our country.
Well, yeah, you're right. I think there was in the Wall Street Journal, there was an op-ed about that isn't this convenient timing that as the stock market is sinking, as world turmoil is at this breaking point, that we have this release of documents here at home that have been in the archive for so long. So, I mean, people are looking at Lee Harvey Oswald's motivation, but also at Donald Trump's motivation today.
When you talk to people, what are the questions they still have about this case?
Well, that's a great point, Jessica. Any day of the year, you can go out to Dealey Plaza, and there are people milling around out there and looking up at the building, some going into the museum inside there. But, yeah, they almost to a man, they'll tell you they think somebody else was involved along with Oswald or instead of Oswald. There are theories out there. But they just want to know what happened. And why it happened, and to kind of soak it in as they're there. And it's, don't know if you've ever visited Dealey Plaza and the School Book Depository, but it's a fascinating place.
So, Jim, not all documents were released. Why?
Well, some belong to private families or collectors or people who have lent them to the National Archives and Record Administration, not to have them keep, but just to be a part of, the archive. And if those families or those collectors or people who own those documents say, no, you're not going to release that, then they won't. And there are still some things that might have black felt tipped through them as they're released now because they may contain social security numbers or phone numbers or something related to people who are still alive, and they don't want that released.
I was just at the JFK Tribute in Fort Worth, but Jim, it was night, so I took some pictures and it looked stunning. But I want to go back in the day and actually read everything that's on it. I'm sure it's a spot that a lot of people are checking out.
Oh, absolutely, always. The Texas Hotel there, that the last place where Kennedy spoke publicly in a rainy day outside in front of the hotel before flying the 30 miles over to Dallas, where he met his end. But both cities have deep connections to the Kennedy assassination.
Well, regardless of the number of documents, you'll still have opposing views on what happened and how many people were involved. I think that'll continue for the rest of time. ABC's Jim Ryan covering the story in Dallas. Jim, we appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thanks,
All
Jim.
Right, thanks, guys.
You had some cool photos from that tour you took.
I was just looking back at some of my photos. I mean, this was, we legit were just coming back from dinner, and we were kind of in a rush because my husband had to fly out very early that morning. So we kind of wanted to get to bed, but I was like, I've got to stop here. I've got to see this. It was the JFK Tribute site, which is located in Fort Worth's General Worth Square. But as Jim was mentioning, it was the last place where JFK spoke to the crowds, and he said it was a rainy day, and I was kind of looking at the pictures that I took. And it's really neat because there's a statue of JFK, and then behind him, I think it was 3 or 4 very large photos that were blown up, and they're lit up, so that was kind of neat to see. But as I look at the pictures that I took, you can see all the people in the crowds. A lot of the ladies were wearing like rain hats because, yes, it was a wet day. And you can see JFK kind of reaching out into the crowd and touching somebody. Wow. But yeah, it is a really cool spot, and also, I mean, if you're one of the people who wants to read some of these documents, it is fascinating. This morning I went to the National Archives, the website, and they have 219 pages of these PDF files. Went to the last one. Its date was looked like it was in the summer of '98, and it was kind of interesting just to see some of the stuff, even if it's not like it doesn't have some bombshell revelation, but just to go back in history, go back in time on this particular file. You could see it was stamped. CIA has no objection to declassification and or release of this document as sanitized. Just very neat. And the boxes that I mentioned, how they could be checked, like the secret box was checked. They have boxes for secret, confidential, internal use only, and unclassified. But these, you look at it, and it's kind of cool when you're reading something that has the box that's checked secret.
Yeah, very interesting. And more documents to be released in time. It's 12:26. News coming up.
For over a century, local radio has evolved with the needs of the community. From politics to pop culture, we keep you informed, bringing you the most relevant news, online, on air, and on the go. You have trusted us with your news, sports, weather, and entertainment. Trust us to keep moving with you. Text radio to 52886 and tell Congress local broadcasting is here to stay.
Hey, March Madness is here. Now, technically, I can't say March Madness, but I can say this. Our coverage of the tournament will be fantastic. Hey, it's Greg Matzek. Keep it tuned to WTMJ for all the updates you need on the tournament. sponsored by Outdoor Living Unlimited. During every sports update, you'll know about every buzzer beater, every upset, the Cinderella stories, and how the state teams are doing throughout the entire tournament. It's the college basketball tournament, not March Madness. Update sponsored by Outdoor Living Unlimited.
Acumen Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLSConsumerAccess.org, number 255368.
Don't settle for a flimsy bank pre-approval. Get the pre-approval listing agents and sellers recognized as better than the rest. The rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval from Accunet. Get yours by clicking on the blue button at accunet.com.
Hair Volume is the best-selling hair tablet in the world and one of many award-winning natural hair products from New Nordic. Purchase at newnordicusa.com or CVS.
Alleviate your pain, rejuvenate your life.
Rejuvenex.com.
Now, about your house. Eric Brown is the president of Siding Unlimited, your contractor for new windows, roofing, siding, decks, and a whole lot more. He knows about your house. So what do you know, Eric?
Siding is what pops on your home. Clean lines, beautiful accents, and wonderful colors can make your home really look amazing. Homeowners are always looking to add curb appeal when buying new siding, and a well-installed product from Siding Unlimited will definitely deliver a grand appeal. There is so much more to gain from replacing your siding other than the curb appeal you're already seeking. There is so much value in having new siding with low maintenance. Just an annual cleaning with the hose is all you really need to do. You can't get much lower maintenance than that. The process of replacing siding gives homeowners a fresh start, a new understanding knowing that we can peel back the old stuff and get a real in-depth inspection on the walls on your home and the structural integrity. How has the home performed over the past 20 years? We'll see it all when removing the old siding. There's a high percentage your home is missing the most important factor in siding a home, and that's a working water barrier. Many homes built in the 1990s and prior don't have a water barrier beneath the siding, and homes that were built in the 90s that do have one probably have a water barrier that was installed incorrectly. New siding replacement assures us that we install the water barrier correctly and protect the home moving forward. Our process always includes adding insulation board to the wall. This gives you a water barrier underlayment and additional R value, which is an energy coefficient, so warmer walls, adding more value to the project than the expected curb appeal. As the new siding goes back on, we know your home will be ready to manage water well into the future and look amazing doing so.
Eric and his crews at Siding Unlimited are your go-to contractor here for siding and also replacement windows, roofing, and decks. Take the next step. Check them out at sidingunlimited.com. Siding Unlimited, siding and a whole lot more.
It's 12:30. I'm Greg Matzek. Your top story, one step closer to getting a Buc-ee's.
I'm Jessica Tighe, investigating a death at the Milwaukee County Jail.
I'm Michelle Franzen. A federal judge has extended the deadline for the Trump administration to provide details about the deportation flights under the use of the Alien Enemies Act.
Increasingly, this is shaping up to be a dispute between the executive and judicial branches that's destined to land at the Supreme Court. The administration insists Judge James Boasberg can't pry into the president's handling of Venezuelan gang members, whom he's deemed to be part of a foreign terrorist organization. The judge says that since immigrant rights advocates have filed suit, he needs more information about the way the administration has handled the matter to determine whether it has acted within the law.
ABC's Stephen Portnoy. The White House says the meeting between President Trump and Ukraine's President Zelensky was good as the U.S. works to nail down terms on a possible ceasefire deal between Ukraine and Russia. Russia's leader agreeing to a 30-day pause to attack Ukraine's infrastructure. Severe storm alerts stretching across parts of the Midwest, on alert for tornadoes this afternoon in Illinois and Indiana. This is ABC News.
Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time is 12:31. Plans for what will be Milwaukee area's largest travel plaza move forward in Oak Creek. Oak Creek's Common Council voting in favor of the rezoning for the proposed site at I-94 and Elm Road on Tuesday. Residents, however, worried about the increased traffic.
There's other places that have Buc-ee's that have also expressed their frustration with the traffic. Daytona Beach, the traffic jam was unbelievable. Literally took me an hour to get out of the parking lot. In Missouri, waited 45 minutes in a traffic jam. How could this place not have a better traffic flow system in place?
The Oak Creek Buc-ee's is scheduled to open in 2027.
Decision Wisconsin. The two candidates for the open seat in the Wisconsin Supreme Court fielding questions on WTMJ's Political Power Hour.
Among those questions, how each candidate can stay beholden to law and order when donations to campaigns have already set judicial election records and could approach $100 million by April 1st. Waukesha County Judge Brad Schimmel.
It doesn't matter whether you are someone who supported my opponent or someone who supported me. You get the same standard in my court.
Dane County Judge Susan Crawford.
I've told anyone who is interested in my race that I welcome their support, but they have to know that they're supporting a fair, impartial judge.
Adam Roberts, WTMJ News.
Investigating the death of a Milwaukee County Jail inmate. The 49-year-old man from Shorewood had been in custody since last Friday. A nurse found him having a health crisis Monday night, eventually transporting him to 2 different hospitals. He later died on Tuesday. The Waukesha County Sheriff Department is leading the investigation.
Lightning strikes an apartment building in Verona. Firefighters responded around 8:30 this morning near Middle Point Road and Cross Oak Drive. One person was trapped in an elevator after the power went out, but that person was quickly rescued. Firefighters found flames on the roof of the building, but no fire inside. A number of people have to find a new place to stay for a bit, but no one was hurt.
The Milwaukee County Transit System is celebrating 50 years on the road with a new fleet of buses.
The new 6400 series buses are rolling out starting today, and interim MCTS manager Julie Esch says in addition to a color scheme change, there will be some new technology inside as well.
Our riders want to feel more secure, so we have monitors inside the buses now.
MCTS is also rolling out a separate throwback bus that will be wrapped in a similar style to buses that were on the roads in 1975. At the MCTS Administration Building in Milwaukee, Adam Roberts, WTMJ News.
Sports, traffic, and weather are next. Outdoor Living Unlimited WTMJ News Time is 12:34.
Dr. Aaron Holtebeck and his team at Holtebeck Eye Center make vision care a top priority. They are your premium provider for eye care and corrective eye surgeries. Dr. Holtebeck has been helping local patients with their eye care needs for over 20 years. Dr. Nausheen Abbas joined the Holtebeck Eye Center team last September, and her practice philosophy is to provide patient-centered medicine by giving all options. Located in Brookfield near the corner of Calhoun and Capitol. Learn more about their services at holtebeck.com.
This is Matt Meitner, owner of Sit Means Sit Dog Training. Do you find yourself talking to your dog but feel like she's not listening to you?
Bella, sit!
Are you constantly repeating yourself but she's not following your directions?
Sit! Sit!
Frustrating, isn't it? At Sit Means Sit Dog Training, we want to help you have a happy, confident, and obedient dog, and we also want to make the training process an enjoyable and worthwhile experience. Contact Sit Means Sit today to schedule a free consultation so we can create a customized training program so you are able to have the dog you want and deserve.
Sit Means Sit Dog Training. Sorry, we don't train husbands, wives, or kids.
WTMJ's Eric Bilstead here for Tri-County Contracting. We talk all the time about Tri-County Contracting, the place to go for roofs and siding, but don't forget, Tri-County Contracting also does windows. Need a new front entry door? Tri-County Contracting. Or maybe a patio door that's always jammed. Get your free estimates today. They've been helping homeowners like you for 46 years. Tri-County Contracting, WI.com. It's worry-free roofing, siding, and windows. Tri-County Contracting, WI.com.
Panic strikes as you realize on Wednesday that Thursday is your anniversary. The reservations being secured.
We'll see you at 8.
The gift being purchased. Yeah, you've got this. Just like Associated Bank's got you with early pay up to 2 days early on direct deposits. So even though they call you Last Minute Lisa, we'll make your last minute scrambling a bit easier. You've got this with early pay from Associated Bank. See associatedbank.com/checking or ask a banker for details. Member FDIC.
Save up to 50% on the project, then save so much more on your energy costs. Vince Vitrano for USA Insulation. Apply for multiple generous rebate programs that can cut the cost of home insulation in half. Jeff and his team perform an energy audit to help you qualify. Then the project, filling your walls with quieting, filtering, insulating foam that saves you money on heating and cooling from day one. USAinsulation.net.
USA Insulation.
Time for WTMJ Sports Update from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All Sports desk. The Bucs have dropped 5 of their last 7 games. According to head coach Doc Rivers, the team needs to find its way on offense.
We don't have the right space and the ball's not moving. We're not attacking. We're not getting to the paint. I got a whole list, but we got to do it, and I got to get them to do it. That's my job.
5-game Western Conference road trip continues Thursday night in Los Angeles against the Lakers. Brewers take on the White Sox this afternoon in Arizona. Hear the game on 94.5 ESPN at 3 o'clock. The Cubs fall to 0-2 in the regular season after a 6-3 loss to the Dodgers in Japan. And the Green Bay Packers, according to ESPN, are signing veteran wide receiver Mecole Hardman to a 1-year deal.
Let's get you an update right now on the roads with your WTMJ update here. I-41, 45 north, a little bit beyond the ramp from County Line Road. Right shoulder is blocked due to disabled vehicle. No big crashes to let you know, but we did have one crash in Waukesha County that was just cleared. There's still one emergency responder out there. The backup is getting a ton better, though. I-43 south at Calhoun, there was a significant backup just in that small area between Calhoun and Moreland. It looks like that has since cleared, though. Just one car out there dealing with the aftermath.
Rain is falling this evening. It'll convert to snow. Kind of a nasty day. Might hear some rumbles of thunder down toward the state line and in points north toward Milwaukee. And then snow starts falling, maybe 2 inches of accumulation, wet and heavy stuff. Wind advisory goes into effect at 7 o'clock tonight, gusts up to 45 miles an hour. Tomorrow, chilly, a high of 41, back into the mid-50s on Friday. 37, rain falling in Milwaukee at 12:38. I gotta be honest, they all kind of sound the same to me.
I don't know this one, though, so it's up to Scott to get this.
That's why we have our congressional correspondent from CBS, Scott McFarland. He is an aficionado of all things 90s R&B. I'm sure it sounds different to you, Scott.
I've got it. I've got two important things to tell you. First of all, that's the theme song of the movie Soul Food from 1997, a group called Milestone, which has Babyface's fingerprints all over it. The song is called I Care About You. But more important than that, there I am Monday driving around Grand Rapids, Michigan on a future story for CBS Morning. And cranking out of the deli loudspeaker is your show. Because you got to keep in mind, you got a great signal that gets across the lake, and they hear you in West Michigan, and there's Packer fans all over America, even in Lions country, and they love to hear you dunking on Aaron Rodgers as you were doing Monday for some reason.
Fantastic! You caught us. Were you in like a rental car, just driving around? What were you doing?
Yeah, we were driving in a rental car, going interview to interview. West Michigan is just gorgeous, including this time of year. And they're listening to you. And I think that's a statement about the Packers, but I think it's more importantly a statement about your talent. And the statement about the signal comes in crystal clear.
I love hearing that for two reasons. One, my brother lives in Grand Rapids, so I'm going to tell him you could just turn on the radio and listen to us. And also, I'm going to be up there, too, because he's getting married in a couple weekends here. So that's fabulous. I'll have to hit you up, Scott, and see what you suggest for Grand Rapids.
All kinds of recommendations on music and Grand Rapids food.
There you go. Hey, what are you covering today? I always feel like we're disrupting something that you're doing that is very fun.
First of all, we all need disruptions from covering this moment in history because there's a lot of toxicity in our politics, as you know, and those of us in Washington are getting a real heavy dosage of it, no matter what we're covering. This is, to not equivocate, this is a constitutional crisis that is unfolding here. And no matter what your political leanings are, it's quite clear there is a standoff that is emerging between the Trump administration and federal judges in Washington, D.C. The only firewall to what the president's trying to do has been federal judges who have halted or paused his orders and his rulings. And he's punching back in a way that is getting particularly dangerous here. This federal judge in D.C. who is asking for the tick-tock of those deportations last weekend. When did the planes take off? When were they turned around? Why weren't they turned around? The Trump administration is defying that judge. And there's a concern here among the critics of the administration. If you defy a judge's orders, you are triggering a constitutional crisis. The right remedy is to appeal it and go to a higher court, not to disregard it. And that seems to be what's happening here.
Scott, we've been talking a lot today in Wisconsin's Midday News about the release of the JFK documents. It's fascinating to go online to the National Archives and see some of these and read them, even if there's no bombshell there. But we have had so many mass releases of unseen information, from the JFK documents to the Epstein files and then all the January 6th surveillance camera video. How unique is this? And do you think that the people who wanted to see this are now satisfied with what they're seeing?
Some of them are vocalizing their displeasure that there doesn't seem to be a whole lot in these files. Now, the JFK files, I mean, it's hard to get through. If you flirted with those documents overnight, you know that there's tens of thousands of pages.
Yes.
There's scanned copies of 1960s typewriter records with code names on them. It takes a master sleuth and a JFK expert to make heads or tails of most of that. The Epstein files disappointed people because they expected more. There's this theory circulating among critics of the administration that they're still holding back some of the Epstein files. They want those put out there. Not sure if it's true or not, but we know nobody's satisfied. Then the January 6th videos, the thousands of hours of previously unreleased surveillance videos, the release was ordered by Trump's allies in Congress, showed nothing we didn't know already. I mean, there was a violent attack on police officers, and in between the attacks on police officers, there was some benign movement around the Capitol. The videos don't tell you anything you didn't realize already. So there's transparency here, and I think Trump supporters like that. Not sure what we're learning, though.
You know, some have called it a distraction, too. Detractors of Donald Trump look at it and say, well, wait a minute, this comes at a very convenient time when inflation is high, the markets are tumbling, and tariffs are all the talk and all the discussion with foreign relations sort of on tense ground. Is that a valid criticism?
It's certainly a criticism we hear a lot. Let's start with that. You know, we haven't heard from the president in the last 24 hours in front of the press pool. That's noteworthy because he, in the last 24 hours, has spoken to Vladimir Putin by phone and Volodymyr Zelensky by phone. Seemingly, there's some important conversations to read out, and he hasn't done that. These other items, JFK files and otherwise, do distract people from what's a pretty tough moment for the Trump administration. He promised to end these wars on day one, and there's no indication of progress at all. So that's an issue. But I'm a more contrarian thought on this. The president's been uniquely good at flooding the zone with things and just causing more distractions by just flooding us with so many arguments, so many revelations. I don't think he needs to have a trick up his sleeve to distract you with JFK files. He'll just come out and announce 5 new executive orders and distract you. I think that's being too cute by half to think this is some way of averting people's gaze.
You mentioned the phone calls. I mean, yesterday, that was all the talk, the phone call. It was happening. It was still going on when we started Wisconsin's Midday News. It was like a 2-hour phone call. It was going very well. Then today, Trump says he had a very good call with Zelensky after speaking to Putin yesterday. What more do we know other than that this call went well, but we ultimately don't have a final solution?
And then the next time I hear a president say the phone call with a foreign leader didn't go well, it'll be the first time. I'm not sure what you could read into that. No matter who the president is, they come out of those things saying it was a productive, constructive conversation. Doesn't mean there's any breakthroughs to be reported. This kind of harkens back to what happened that last Friday in February, doesn't it? Where you had that face-to-face meeting in front of the cameras with Volodymyr Zelensky, and it went off the rails. There's no indication that that's been rebuilt or restored. And what's more, in the 3 weeks since, there's been no progress on executing peace in that region. So a lot of this threatens to bog down the presidency, bog down the administration, and cost more lives. This is a sensitive moment and a sensitive topic, and we do notice the administration's talking about a whole lot of other things right now.
One of which, as we continue our conversation with Scott McFarland, CBS congressional correspondent, a judge's ruling that DOJ's slashing of U.S. aid it's unconstitutional, Scott. Trump has said he vows to appeal this decision. Who is going to win here?
So we're back to the judges, aren't we? I mean, there's been more than 140 federal lawsuits filed to stop or slow Trump changes, including the gutting of agencies like USAID. So perhaps it's no coincidence the administration is so explicitly trying to criticize judges, discredit federal judges, because that's the last firewall to slow him down. This is a temporary pause of this gutting of USAID. It could go back and forth as it goes to the appeals court, probably headed to the Supreme Court at some point. But that's the more fundamental issue. That's where challenges are supposed to go. If you don't like a judge's order, you go to the appeals court. You don't threaten to impeach the judge or simply disregard the judge's order. And that's a real concern, as is evident by the fact that the Supreme Court's Chief Justice, John Roberts, issued a statement provocatively saying just that. We don't agree with judges. We don't impeach them. We just appeal.
Scott, before we let you go here, Greg and I are about to fill out our brackets. Actually, Greg might have his done.
No, not yet.
If I remember correctly, you're a Syracuse grad. The Orange are not in the NCAA tournament, are they?
Yeah, he's aware, I'm sure.
That's nice of you to bring that up. So let me respond in kind. I was there in 2013 in the Elite Eight when Syracuse won over Marquette overwhelmingly to go to the Final Four. So if you want to fight fire, I'll fight fire back at you. But how ambitious is Greg with Wisconsin? I mean, they're a 3 seed. They look good at the end. I'm bullish on them.
They are very good. So here's the thing. Like going into the tournament before I saw the brackets, I said, ooh, wow, VCU as an 11. That's a team that should probably be like a 9. And I see it's a potential Wisconsin-VCU matchup in round number 2. Keep in mind, however, if you want more fuel and ammunition.
I know where you're going.
Jessica went to Indiana and not Marquette.
She's going to come right back at me, isn't she?
Indiana not in it, which is crazy. I mean, I went to school, in the Bobby Knight days when Bobby Knight got the boot. And, I mean, I loved every game. Had tickets. You couldn't even go to all the games. It was so popular. You only got a handful of games. Sometimes you got a good seat. Sometimes you were up in the rafters. I mean, it was huge. So the fact that Indiana is not even in the tournament crushes my heart. So I was not trying to fight with you about Syracuse and the Orange not being in it. I feel for you. Now it's just like, who do we pick to go all the way at this point?
Is there like a correspondent pool, Scott? Like, did everybody get together and you and, I don't know, anybody else over there and just do a correspondence pool?
You should know that Major Garrett is the engine that roars on this. He gets an enormous number of people into our charity pool. And it was won last year by a congressman. The top Democrat on the House Armed Services Committee, who's overseeing America's military, had enough time to fill out a winning bracket and house us all. We do it, and I mean, by the way, you're absolved for the Syracuse joke because I feel you on Indiana being left out. But Wisconsin can score points this year. This is so unlike the Badgers. They can score. I got them all the way to the Final Four.
Hey,
nice.
We love hearing that, Scott. We appreciate it. Always a good time to check in with Scott McFarland, our CBS congressional correspondent. We'll do it again next week. Thanks, Scott.
Thanks, Scott.
Sounds good.
12:49 on WTMJ. Yeah, with Indiana out, Syracuse out. Some big teams you're used to seeing there, just not in it.
I was not fighting with that. I was just like, ooh. I mean, it's a decision because if he's not going with his heart, like I said yesterday, I always kind of went with my heart. And we don't even have the option to go with your heart.
No.
Who do you go with?
All right, so we have until 11 o'clock tomorrow morning to get our brackets filled out. Our Wisconsin's Midday News bracket. You, me, and Gina will do something. We'll put something on the line. We'll have some fun.
You want me to do a bracket? Good Karma wants us to do a bracket. My dad wants me to do a bracket.
Yes.
The condo wants me to do a bracket.
You are encouraged to do this at work, which is wonderful.
I usually like to do it, but like I said, it's tough.
It is. It's not easy. No exact
year.
science, that's for sure. It's 12:50 on WTMJ.
Celebrate a birthday, anniversary, or retirement this week with a free dinner at the historic Fox and Hounds restaurant near Holy Hill. Buy one dinner, get one free, 7 nights a week. Google Fox and Hounds restaurant and enjoy your free dinner.
Hey, thanks, Libby. Hey, for over 70 years, Geis Garage Doors has been the trusted garage authority in Wisconsin. Got a busted door, something not working right? You make a call to Geis, and they come out and fix it. It's what they've done for us. They'll do it for you. Brands like CHI and LiftMaster right there in stock, ready to go for you. Doors for every budget. They even go the custom route if that's what your project requires. For swift and reliable garage repair solutions, visit GeisDoors.com. You can also check out that showroom. It's in Brookfield, right off Barker Road. I've been there. Pretty cool stuff. And a great crew of people in there working. It's Geis. Don't think twice. Call Geis and visit GeisDoors.com.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues?
Who are you?
Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
It's tax season, and at LifeLock, we know you're tired of numbers. But this one you need to hear. $16.5 billion. That's how much money in refunds the IRS flagged for possible identity fraud last year. Now, here's a good number. $100 million. That's how many data points LifeLock monitors every second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it guaranteed. Oh, one last number. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS. Visit LifeLock.com for the threats you can't control. Terms apply.
Gruber Law Offices. One call, That's all.
They treated me like family.
They're actually people that you can depend on.
They made me feel seen. They really treated me like I was a part of their family, a part of their team.
They ask how you're doing, how you're feeling.
They're just so welcoming and so sweet and kind.
It's like family, caring about another member of the family.
If you've been injured, it costs you nothing to see if Gruber Law Offices can help.
$1 doesn't buy much unless you're spending it at Griffin. For just $1 over cost, you can buy brand new tires from us. This is Jim Griffin. Any major brand, $1 over our cost with free tire repair and lifetime rotation. We'll even show you the invoice to prove it. Our only requirements, we put them on for you. Buy one or the whole set. The dollar deal from Griffin. Milwaukee, Waukesha, Fort Atkinson, and Jefferson. Griffin. The buck stops here. The deals on tires don't. That's Griffin.
Not combinable with other tire offers.
No shortcuts, no compromises, just the job done right. At Exterior Pros, we don't just meet expectations, we crush them. Every nail, every window, every shingle is a step toward your home's next chapter. From the moment we start until that final reveal, we're committed to making your home better than ever. Quality products and craftsmanship you can count on. Go to the pros for your next project. Get started today and save $2,000. Visit extpros.com or call 262-800-4274. That's 262-800-4274.
Well, rain is falling here in downtown Milwaukee and points to the south and to the north of our listening area. It'll be sweeping across the state here. Rain converts to snow later tonight, and things will get slushy. So thunder during the morning and afternoon hours, snow at night, a low of 29, wind gusts up to 45 miles an hour. Nasty day. Tomorrow, not much better, high of 41. That rain's going to hang out, maybe some wintry mix going on in the morning hours until you get the warm up. Friday's high 54 under mostly cloudy skies. It's 37 and wet in Milwaukee at 12:54. Wrapping up a Wednesday edition, it's Wisconsin's Midday News. Greg and Jessica with you till 1 o'clock.
Listen to this. Ben & Jerry's says its CEO was unlawfully removed by its parent company. ABC's Sherry Preston has a new story.
Ben & Jerry's prides itself on its progressive activism. In fact, when UK-based Unilever bought the company 25 years ago, one of the stipulations for the sale was that an advisory committee would be set up to oversee any decisions regarding the removal of the top executive. So when CEO David Stever was removed, Ben & Jerry's sued. They accused Unilever of silencing the ice cream maker's statements and actions. In 2021, Ben & Jerry's refused to sell their products in the West Bank, and they've recently issued statements in support of Palestinians in the Gaza war. Sherry Preston, ABC News.
People are just like, but the ice cream, that's staying around?
There, right?
We're okay? It's still in grocery stores? They have so many. Are you a Ben & Jerry's guy?
I like Ben & Jerry's. I do. I mean, if we're going to splurge a little bit and I don't have time to run to Kopp's or Culver's or even Gillies to get some custard, Ben & Jerry's does the trick.
Yeah, I mean, they have got that newer one, too, in the Third Ward, which is unique. I always like, especially the Third Ward, to have local companies. I think that's the best, but I feel like Ben & Jerry's in that spot does have a good fit in the Third Ward.
They've got partnerships with different companies and airlines. Sometimes you get a little Ben & Jerry's cup on a flight you might be taking overseas.
That's right. I think I have had that. A little cup. That's nice.
Not a big one. Yeah, just enough. Just enough. I do like the coffee, buzz flavor.
They have the titles for their flavors are great.
Always good. Chunky Monkey's very good.
Chunky Monkey, yeah. Don't they have fish food, too?
They do have fish food.
One for all the fish fans out there.
Yes, and then they even did a Dave Matthews spinoff with One Sweet World, which is sort of a spinoff on one of the titles of one of Dave's songs. Cherry Garcia for the Deadheads out there. Yeah, they've kind of had this jam band feel going on with names of some of their flavors.
Yeah, the Cherry Garcia. That's nice if you like cherry. I don't know. Give me an Americone Dream. Vanilla ice cream, caramel swirls, and some fudge chunks. That sounds good.
They do have, let's see, the Chance the Rapper-inspired mint chocolate Chance.
Oh.
So they've done collaborations.
Oh, that's right up my alley.
With actual musical artists to try and get their flavors off the ground.
Chance the Rapper. Well, that's newer. I like it. That's my favorite, mint.
I am pretty simple in that overall, I like cookie dough. Anytime there's a cookie dough somewhere, I'm going to get it. Whenever Kopp's does Bienenstich-Kuchen, I always end up with that. It's only once a year during Germanfest.
Wait, what was that?
Bienenstich-Kuchen.
Kuchen?
Yeah. Oh, it's like an almond custard with shaved almonds in it, chunks of white cake, Bavarian cream. Like, it is out of this world good.
All right. Now I'm hungry, but I got to do the news next.
Okay, fair enough. Well, Wisconsin's Midday News is wrapping up here. Spanning the state coming in just a few minutes. Keep in mind, you can subscribe to the Wisconsin's Midday News podcast. We would love to have you do that. Text the word Midday to 855-616-1620. Siding Unlimited builds the podcast. Gina does all the work behind the podcast, getting it up and ready for you. In fact, our show today, it's already there. Check it out, the Wisconsin's Midday News podcast. News coming up.
Wisconsin's Morning News is here for you every weekday morning starting at 6 a.m. Vince Petrano.
Milwaukee Public Schools begin the week with more lead remediation, a new superintendent, and a court-ordered deadline.
Eric Billstad.
March in Wisconsin means snowfall and wildfires can happen just days apart.
And traffic with Debbie Lozica.
We've got eastbound 94 closed in Jefferson County.
The news you need to know. Wisconsin's Morning News on WTMJ.
Hey, Greg Matzek here. Want to get you down to Potawatomi Sportsbook to watch all the games, right? It is a great time of year to be a college basketball fan, and Potawatomi Sportsbooks is the place to be to watch those games. We'll be there tonight as a